We are Outside the Pod, a Miami Dolphins podcast. Here are your outsiders, Danny D and Jules, the ref killer.
All right, now we're recording. So the reason that I was fumbling on Tyreek Hill is because I really don't give a shit. I don't give a S. He's giving up his captain status, bro. Just F him play football, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
That's what it was when me trying to talk about Tyreek Hill and him.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Being a captain anymore. I knew you were a trash captain, dude. I knew that from the start. I don't even know why they gave you the C, dude. I think they gave you the C just because they pay you a bunch of money, and you thought that you needed to be a captain. And that's why they gave it to you, because
it was the C for cash.
Head coach. And I think that's why Tyreek Hill had captain. But now, thankfully, this dude's gonna focus on being a wide receiver. Yes, please do that, Tyreek. Be a wide receiver for us. But yeah.
Hell yeah.
So leave your divorce behind. Stop having kids, like Joel said earlier offline.
What you were saying on Tyreek, hell yeah, dude. Now this is the Danny D that I know. You gotta keep it real, man. Yeah, Tyreek, man. Yeah, focusing on wide receiver. That's what you got to do, man. And I don't know that people saw you, other players saw you as a captain or anything, or a leader of this team. They see you as a good wide receiver, a funny guy. You know, you're a jokester, whatever. You got a million kids. But as a leader, as a captain, I don't think they saw you as that. And focusing on wide receiver, that's your job. Just be a wide receiver. Totally agree with that, man.
Yeah, start burning the cleats off of some dudes and worry about that, bro. Worry about not dropping the damn football. Worry about, making sure you come back to Tua's underthrown balls. That's it. Just stay focused, brother. Just stay focused and be a wide receiver. All right? With Jalen Ramsey, I mean, the Dolphins got what they deserved, right? I hope the front office paid this dude a lot of money because they got what they deserved, a diva, right? They probably paid him a bunch of money for that one freaking little bit that he played. He played great. He's a freaking talent. Great tackler, which for some reason we are allergic to great tackling cornerbacks in this team.
Yeah.
But yeah, he played great for us. But guess what? A diva, nonetheless. And you know what? Maybe not. At the same time, I'm not in the room, I guess. But I mean, we all know kind of Jalen Ramsey's character, right? Throughout his career. But I think there's probably a lot to blame on that building with the head coach, with Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer, among others. There's probably some type of friction that's pushing some of these players away. Because I think Ramsey is not an idiot. He knew what he was getting into, man. He knew that, yeah, they may compete, but there's also a risk that, hey, Tua could be hurt. They may go 8-8 and not make the playoffs. I think he knew that. I don't think he's leaving because the Dolphins are not his expectations as far as record playing on the field. I think he's leaving because there's some toxicity within that building, and we need to damn fix that, or else we're never going to keep players like him on this team. As soon as they become super mega stars like Jalen Ramsey is, he's basically the only one in our team. Well, I guess Tyreek Hill. But, I mean, they both have problems. They both want to leave the team all the time. Thankfully, we were able to keep Tyreek Hill with us, talk him off the ledge. But yeah, Jalen Ramsey, we lost him, and he's gone. We're never getting him back. He's probably going to go to the damn Patriots or something. Matter of fact, you know what? I hope, you reap what you sow, man. You know what I mean? I don't hope this. But at the same time, I mean, I like chaos. So maybe if he goes to the Bills, it'd be a great time.
Yikes.
Yeah, I hope not. But for content, I hope he goes to the Bills. I hope he goes to the Bills, and we just can't do anything about it. Anyway, Jules, any thoughts?
Yeah, man, just let him go. This kind of distraction, especially with this team where we're at right now, we don't need it. We don't need that shit. Let him go. If he goes to the Bills, man, Yeah, it's gonna go for great content, right? The first pick six from Jalen Ramsey, picking off Tua and taking it to the house. I mean, come on. It writes itself, right? It writes itself. Man, it's rough. I think he's a great player. Yeah, but man, whatever. Just freaking let him go. Let's see what we got with the other. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I hope you're ready, Cater Cole. Your feet are.
You're up next,
man. You're up next. And man, I got a feeling Josh Allen is on in Jalen Ramsey's DMs right now as we speak. Hey, bro, come to the Bills, bro. Trying to love him up. I know he is. He's that type of dude. Because I know, and not only that, but I think their self-esteem is a little down in the Bills, right? Because they get so close, but no cigar for so many seasons now. I know there's got to be some, some of the defensive players up in the Bills. I'm sure every team is like you've talked about before too. Is everybody's calling him. He's the best corner. He's the best corner. I mean, yeah, I'm sure some people have some of the other corners have sometimes are okay. They're leading in interceptions or they're doing this. They looking hot. This the hot new, the new hotness, right? But at the end of the day, Jalen Ramsey is the best corner. I mean, there's no argument.
All around for sure. Yeah.
So, but yeah. So anyway.
Enough about Jalen.
Yeah. Let's move on to Jonnu Smith. I think Jonnu Smith. I think he really does like the team. I'm sure he's a big fan of South Florida, but I think he liked the team. I think he liked being with Tua, and he had his career year, right? I don't think he wants to leave. He definitely is just looking for that new contract, and he's looking, and hoping that he can stay in Miami because he knows that Tua and him had a good connection, and he had his best season. He put up great numbers in the second half of our season, and I think he wants to stay. And unfortunately, if you're asking for more money right now in our current state, with Zach Sealer also asking for money, I'm sorry to say, Mr. Jonnu Smith, you might be asked out. Jules.
Man, I think Jonnu Smith is looking at what I'm looking at. And what I'm looking at is a Jonnu Smith who, he had a career year. But I think for this year, I think it's easier for Jonnu Smith, or more likely for Jonnu Smith to have a year like he did in Atlanta, or than having a year like he did last year. I think it's closer to having something like that than having a repeat year as far as performance is concerned. That's what I think. I mean, I think he sees that. I think he's trying to capitalize on that good year. I do think he likes Miami. I think he's being real about that. Mm-hmm. But he's looking at his year's performance and saying, well, I got an opportunity here to make some bank, to make some money, because I think he's a good talent and everything, but I don't think that a year like that, it was pretty special, man. He had some terrific, double digit catch games and stuff like that, and he probably carried the team in a couple of games as well. But I don't think that's not the norm. That's not gonna be the norm for him, and especially not in this offense when you got Tyreek and Jalen and Devon, Achane, and all these other guys. There's so many guys that need to touch the ball. So I don't think Jonnu thinks that he can have a repeat year like that, and so he's gotta make his money right now, and I think that's what he's thinking. But man, if the front office is smart, I don't think they should give it to him. That's the thing.
Right.
Because we got other priorities.
Right.
That's just the bottom line.
Of course, and before you get into the other priority, let me get back. Let me bring up this thought that I just had as you were talking about Jonnu Smith, and that is that if Jonnu Smith is putting up big numbers, I think it's a problem for our offense. That means that the rest of the offense is not. He's the fallback. He's the
That's a great
fallback
point.
receiver. So the reason they had a great year is because the rest of our offense wasn't having a great year.
Right.
I think that's the reason why he had, specifically him, had the year that he had receiving for the Miami Dolphins. Is because we just couldn't get the same numbers from Achan. We couldn't get obviously Tyreek, obviously Jalen Waddle. I think if those guys are able to get their numbers back up, and mostly probably falling on play calling and play design and game plan mostly. I think it's game plan big time, man. Like you gotta find those weaknesses on your opposing defense, and you gotta exploit them, man. You gotta and make the adjustments as soon as they adjust. You gotta adjust to them. There's something missing with the way we're running the offense, and again, Jonnu Smith was the benefactor of our offense going bad. So we don't need that tight end position, but we do need the man named Zach Sealer in the D. Jules.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I mean, I think that definitely Zach Sealer would be a priority for us, and more so than Jonnu Smith. That's somebody that you can much easily replace than the performance of somebody like Zach Sealer. And that's one of our MVPs. The players voted so, and that's especially when you're missing somebody like Christian Wilkins, who we thought at a certain point, I thought that Zach Sealer's game was based a lot on what Christian Wilkins was bringing to the team and how he kind of spilled over into Zach Sealer's game and stuff like that. So I think that was cool. That was important for Zach Sealer. I think they had a great friendship too. You could see it in Hard Knocks. Remember that?
Friends, yeah.
So, but he proved that he didn't need that. He proved that he was good. He proved that he didn't need Christian by his side, and he still blew up the offensive lines. He still made plays in the backfield, and so I definitely would pay Zach Sealer before I would pay anyone like John.
Yeah, and let me just throw this out there. This is hypothetical that they only could keep one of them out of the two or any of them. Both of them may be walking out of this team by the end of before the season starts or before preseason, probably most likely if they're gonna make a move. But yeah, absolutely agree with priority Zach Sealer. I can't say his name; it's too close to each other. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, it's sad that the players feel the need to want to restructure their contracts every chance they get. When a team, if they suck, they can't. The team's not gonna say, well, you suck, so now I'm gonna minus $10 million from your contract. So I think it's a little lopsided when a player is able to just say, you know what, I overperformed my contract. I'm not gonna play until you give me more money. I'm gonna sit out OTAs. I'm gonna sit out preseason. I'm gonna sit out whatever until you give me more money. But if it was the other way around, when have you heard a front office telling a player, like, I don't know, Dak Prescott telling him, hey man, you're underperforming your contract, man. One of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, and you're not performing as the highest paid quarterback in the league. How about we take, $150 million off of your contract? You don't hear that kind of stuff. So
no.
Hey, it's unfortunate. We'll let the agents and the front offices handle that kind of those kind of deals. But I mean, it's kind of like it's probably not similar to, but it makes me think of like tipping culture. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. It makes me, where like everybody wants their tip, but only like 10% of them really deserve a tip. Like, when like a restaurant server. Anyway, I don't think it's similar, but for whatever reason, that's what it makes me think of. It's like, I'm not gonna give you a tip. You suck. I didn't get my food was cold. I asked for a Coke Zero and you gave me a freaking root beer. You know what I mean? Like, no. Hey, Zach Sealer did a great job for us. He deserves more money. But again, like I said, the contract I think players should try to play the contract. Be good stewards of the poor billionaires' money, and and move on. And then next year or whenever you restructure, if you guys are in a good place with each other. But at the same time, I feel like, yeah. Anyway, too much. We'll move on to that. Any closing thoughts from you?
No, man. I'm good.
Cool.
I think these conversations about these players have played out. We'll need to wait to see what happens next. I think we're about as informed as anything else that's out there.
Yeah.
Because everything else is speculation. Yeah. So we can speculate all we want, and some of these things are sad topics for me, man. Like players trying to leave, players trying to get the money, forcing a trade, forcing your way out the door and shit like that. That just speaks a lot to maybe some dysfunction or, animosities, and those are just, and I'm the pessimistic guy. I can talk about pessimistic shit all you want, but as a fan, sometimes this kind of stuff just frustrates the heck out of you, man. When you're talking about your team this way, and you got other teams excited, with none of this shit going on, and they're excited about the season coming up, and all they can talk about is Josh Allen having a heck of a time at his honeymoon or whatever. Come on, man. And we're talking about this crap.
Yeah.
It's hard for a fan, man. It's hard.
Yeah. I mean, these are not our worst years, but yeah. I mean, let's get some good news out there. Let's sign Zach Sealer. I think we're gonna have a pretty good defensive line, so that's something to look forward to. With our rushers, Chop Robinson looked freaking phenomenal last year. I think he's gonna have even more of a breakout year for his second year.
Right.
And then the rookie freaking defensive tackle, I think it's gonna look pretty nice.
Maybe Jalen Phillips has a defensive comeback player of the year or something like that.
Yeah. Because we all know he's capable. That's a monster right there. I just hope he stays healthy.
Maybe we don't need no dang cornerbacks,
Right. Hey, if we get to the quarterback, hey, anybody could cover for freaking 1 second. You know what I mean? If we could get to the quarterback in 1 second, hey, I could cover Stephon Diggs for 1 second. I could do it. And I'm 43 years old. So, anyway. Hey, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for listening. Next episode, we'll talk some schedule, specifically with the first 4 games. We're gonna split it up into 4 different episodes to get a little bit into the nitty-gritty of the matchups and everything. Nothing too crazy because we're not pros. We're just a couple of fans. But we'll talk about how we think some of these games are gonna go, or at least. How bad it's going to go and how we think we're going to deal with certain aspects of those other teams. So for me and Jules, I hope you guys have a good time listening and, enjoy the rest of your time until the next episode. And I hope to see you guys there. Smash the subscribe, smash the like, and leave us a comment. Get into the conversation. Fins up.
Fins up.